Hello there, and welcome to PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and really pleased to show you today a scarce collectible from the spring, almost the spring of 1965, a handbill for a joint concert by Bob Dylan and Joan Baez. As you can well see, a short joint tour they were doing together. And if you've gotten as far as this video, you've probably seen this image before. It's a very popular and famous image of Dylan concert poster from the early 1965, as I said, that was used for only a short time. Not only was the tour with Joan a very short joint tour, as I said, back east, but also the image itself Dylan supposedly wasn't crazy about, and its use was discontinued after just a few concerts. And so, you know, this was just before Bob embarked for England on an acoustic tour, and which was filmed for the movie Don't Look Back, which everybody has seen, every Dylan fan, and Joan, of course, had appearances in that film, but she was sort of fading from the scene, and so maybe this was their last big fully together shout of glory, this joint tour here together. So I've blogged this item before. This is Eric Von Schmidt artwork on this poster handbill, if you will, and I've shown you both the large full-size poster and this smaller handbill, which by the way is 5.5 by 9.5 inches in size. And I've shown it to you both with and without the venue info up top filled in. But I felt this was a compelling enough piece that I've got a few new ingredients to show you with this blog, and I'll try not to be redundant from any blogs that I have done before. So as you can see here, I'll move in for, I've got it with a couple of clothespins on this black backing board for easy display, but it's just paper. And as you can see, it says right there across the top, Friday evening, March 19th, 8:30 p.m. Excuse me. And then below that, it says Reynolds, Coliseum, North Carolina State Campus, Raleigh, North Carolina, with of course the abbreviation NC for North Carolina. And then the ticket prices off there with the extra white area down to the left there. Reserved seats, $2, $2.50, and $3. Mail orders to Reynolds Coliseum. How, early, naive, and harmless is that to just, assume people will just look up the address of Reynolds Coliseum and send in, what, $5 for $2.50 tickets or something? There's no mention of mailing or handling charge or a stamp or anything. I also like the way, before I pull back, I love the way, instead of having a hard top, Von Schmidt's artwork here leading into the venue info, there's that neat rust-colored splatter that borders the blank area. And in fact, I think there's even a dollop of rust dot paint right below the word Coliseum. It just kind of, they go nicely together. So, and you've certainly seen this image. There's, in fact, Von Schmidt's initials down there at the bottom near the end of Joan's hair as he signed his artwork. Now, a lot of people think this artwork was just a complete concoction by Von Schmidt. He just, painted what I believe it's a watercolor of Dylan and Baez, but no, it's very much inspired by a photograph. And a matter of fact, I have that picture to show you, a print of it, photographed by Dick Waterman. Now look at that, huh? If you haven't seen that, that's pretty fun. That's pretty thrilling. It's amazing. Dick Waterman, the photographer, he's well known in blues circles, accomplished photographer, writer, as well as photographer. Matter of fact, he's a member of the Blues Hall of Fame. As a non-performer, he had so many things going on with the blues in the 60s and so forth, and credited largely with discovering Bonnie Raitt, by the way. So he definitely took this picture, and it's interesting to see the liberties taken. This will get a little tricky. I'm going to hold them next to each other and hope I can give you a good view. But as you can see, Von Schmidt, in sort of copying Waterman's photograph, he changed some things. For one, the most obvious one is Joan's dress has gone from circles to stripes for whatever reason, and Dylan's harmonica holder is gone. I at first thought it was a cigarette up there, but I believe it's the silver gleam of a harmonica holder that Von Schmidt chose to leave out, understandably. Joan's hand on Bob's back in the photograph is gone. Joan's hair is now down over her shoulder, taking up a lot of space on the handbill or the artwork as opposed to in the photograph. And of course, Von Schmidt's artwork just cuts off Joan sort of above the waistline so you don't get her boots and her legs and so forth. And also, interestingly, Von Schmidt's artwork has this blue stripe coming down from Joan's shoulder, which I assume is meant to represent a guitar strap. In fact, I think you can even sort of see in Von Schmidt's artwork, as I point with one corner, the top of a guitar. I believe that's supposed to represent, which in the photograph by Waterman here, she's clearly holding a tambourine and not a guitar at all. So, but it works well, to have it look that way for the purpose of the artwork. And by the way, excuse me, nice high-quality prints of that Dick Waterman photograph can be purchased at Dick's website, dickwaterman.com. He's very much alive and kicking and doing well, having contributed so much to the blues scene. But anyway, it's interesting how that was taken from that photograph. A lot of people thought it was just, a brand new concoction. Finally, I wanted to show you what else was done with Eric Von Schmidt's artwork. If you haven't seen this, it was used for the cover of this neat Dylan biography, actually a Four People biography, but perhaps you've seen this if you're a Dylan fan, Positively 4th Street by David Hadju, and it's subtitled The Lives and Times of Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, Mimi Baez Farina, and Richard Farina. And what's nice, excuse me, and might not have been seen until this book's cover, I'm not sure, is on the back a continuation of the famous artwork showing there the folk artists known collectively as Richard and Mimi Farina. And of course Mimi was Joan Baez's sister. So it's nice to, I really don't know. You could, sort of open this up to be one continuous artwork. I don't know if that was drawn in later years or if the entire drawing is from 1965 like this piece of artwork was. And hello there, from a later time and different location. I'm just jumping in with this little segment because I've since discovered this handbill with a different venue on it than I've had a chance to show you before, at least on the flyer. New Haven, Connecticut, from 2 weeks prior to Raleigh. Check that out on Saturday, March 6th. Now, I have shown you the full-size poster from New Haven, Connecticut. I did that actually in a video blog way back in my first year, 2011. You might recall it was actually quite faded. In fact, here's a photograph of that very poster, and look how faded it is from New Haven. But it really shows the difference, how important the colors are to this piece, because they're just really rich and deep here, just really quite beautiful. Notice, by the way, how somebody wrote their initials in the lower right-hand corner. Now, it's interesting to note, by the way, how the typeset was set differently between these two pieces, the poster and the handbill, and let's compare the two side by side. Now, on the handbill in front, notice how the show information is spread out evenly across the top. Plus, you've got that little SASC paragraph in the lower left where there's a little additional white space. But on the poster, in the back there, all the information is essentially gathered into two clumps, right? You got your big information in the upper left corner, and you've got your fine print details in the upper right corner. So why'd they do it differently? Well, if you look carefully, it does appear, in fact, it can be measured out, especially in the upper right, there was more white space available on the handbill than there was on the poster. Okay, so let's return now to the Raleigh, North Carolina flyer 2 weeks later. Now, the last interesting historical note about this particular handbill, not even the artwork in general, but this March 19th, 1965 handbill, is that 3 days later, this handbill from this date could be considered the very end of Dylan's pure folk era, because 3 days later he went electric. Sit back, pause for effect. You're saying Petey went electric at the Newport Folk Festival in July of '65, right? Well, yeah, performance-wise, but March 19th, Friday, you had this acoustic concert, and people had only heard Dylan's first 4 albums. March 22, on Monday, Columbia Records released Bringing It All Back Home. You drop the needle, and out comes Subterranean Homesick Blues, rocking like crazy. So anybody who went to this Friday night concert and bought his new album on Monday heard rock music blaring out of their speakers. It was like, OMG, what's Dylan doing? He's turning into a rock star. But as of this concert and this show, the Friday before, Dylan was still known 100%, not counting his Hibbing High School days, playing Little Richard material as a folk artist. So I think that's really nice. So the way that falls in the timeline is really cool. There you have it, still another iteration of the famous Eric Von Schmidt artwork with the Dylan Baez poster and handbill, this one from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hope you enjoyed seeing it. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.